My name is Victoria Liu. I'm the owner of Iron Horse PT and Pilates. I am a pelvic floor therapist and an orthopedic physical therapist as well. We have several practitioners in my office. I am one of 2 pelvic floor therapists in my practice, and we also have Pilates. So one of the things we specialize in is actually helping moms recover or work on their core and pelvic floor during pregnancy, prepare for labor, and then after postpartum, like getting back to doing the activities they were doing. And I think all of you, because you have been exercising, are in a much better position than a lot of moms that I do see with issues after giving birth. So you're a step above, a step ahead of a lot of postpartum moms. And you know, my purpose here today is to help answer any questions and maybe help you with your delivery and your postpartum recovery. Because one of the things I found really frustrating is people just don't, like, nobody ever tells you the things that you should be aware of or what you should be looking out for. A lot of times, actually the most common phrase I hear from women is, why didn't anybody tell me? Why didn't my OBGYN tell me this? Like, how is this like not known? How is this a thing? And I'm like completely in the dark about it. And unfortunately, that is the state of healthcare in terms of like pregnancy and women's health in general, which is unfortunate. And that's why I do these talks, because sometimes I'm just shaking my head, like when a mom comes in after they give birth and stuff, and they're just completely at a loss. I mean, there's like, you know, they're not sleeping, their body just feels like it's been dragged through the ringer. And I'm like, God, if someone had told you what to do beforehand, you probably wouldn't be in this situation now. So if I could save someone from having a prolapse or being so scared about their diastasis, or, you know, not knowing to do what, you know, when they have pain with intercourse, or going to the bathroom and things like that, like, I think that's a win. So that's my purpose here today. So I mean, I can talk for hours on pelvic floor stuff, but I'm here to really serve you and answer your questions. So why don't we go around and just maybe you can say your name and say, what would you like to learn today? And if you don't have a question, that's okay too. You're like, I just want to listen. Okay.
I'm the instructor.
Yes, I figure. Did you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I'm just here to listen.
Okay, cool.
I'm Danny.
Danny, nice to meet you.
I'm Dana.
Hi.
Hi. I don't have any questions off the top of my head. I've worked with a few pelvic floor PTs, both prenatally and then postpartum, and it was really helpful. So I feel like I have a solid foundation, but I'm excited to maybe learn some more.
Great.
I'm Lauren. I also work with a pelvic floor PT, but it's my first baby, so I think the question I have is how soon you can start and what you can do postpartum.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Preeti, and this is my first baby, and I don't have technology for pelvic floor PT, so I think I can listen and look into it.
Sure.
I'm Carolyn. It would have been helpful to have someone like you like 3 months ago, because I feel like I'm kind of late now. I'm already like 36 weeks, but if there's anything I can do right now to kind of
Well, it's never too late. Well, what issue were you having 3
I don't
months
really
ago?
have any issues, but just like there's something that will make the future easier.
It's never too late. You can still do something, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Humali. This is my 3rd baby, and my first was during the pandemic. So I saw no one
Yeah.
or anything. So I have very specific questions around like previous diastasis that's still kind of just like how to recover from that for the 3rd pregnancy. And it's my last, hopefully. So that's I want to like build for the future.
Yeah.
And then the second is a little TMI, but like I have hemorrhoids from the first pregnancy. I had 2 vaginal births, so and it's like even now still early. I'm only 16 weeks, so it's already causing problems. So I'm like, how can I get ahead of that for hopefully 3rd vaginal birth?
Yeah, nothing is TMI. For pelvic floor PT, like the more information generally you give us, the better, because it'll help us help you. So that's not TMI, that's actually a very common problem, so we can talk about that.
My name's Annalise, this is my second baby, and I probably have like a handful of questions, so I'll just pick one that's probably the most relevant right now. Is it normal, like for subsequent pregnancies, like when you vomit, to like pee yourself also, or is that normal or abnormal?
Okay,
Great question.
so it's common, but it's not normal. Meaning, so that's a pressure problem.
Yeah.
So peeing yourself, which I don't know if anybody here has done that already with your previous children or like during your pregnancy now. Peeing on yourself is never normal. It's very common, and a lot of women joke about it and they accept it and they're like, oh well, you know, I had kids. But you don't have to live with it, and you shouldn't have to, I don't think. And I mean, I don't have any issue with that, and I know plenty of women who don't pee on themselves when they exercise or run or cough or sneeze. So it's not a situation that like you should or have to accept, you know. And later on down the line, you know, those pelvic floor symptoms, if they're really mild now, but what's going to happen when you're 70, right? Like your pelvic floor changes over time as you get older. Like you lose muscle every year after age 40 anyway, if you're not strength training, but even more quickly after age 40 for women specifically because of the drop in estrogen and things like that. So your pelvic floor problems don't get better as you get older. They might get worse. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a diaper when I'm older. You know, that's actually the number one like cause of putting someone in a nursing home is actually incontinence. You wouldn't think that would be it, but think about it, like your family members don't want to take care of people, other family members who aren't continent. It's very stressful on the whole family, and that's why people end up going to nursing homes. I mean, I know you guys are far from that, but you have to think of the future in mind.
I mean, no.
Yeah, no. But like, you know, that's a really good question. I think you should ask all of your questions because I'm sure other people have the same thing. But that's a pressure issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What were your other ones?
Oh, can pelvic floor PT help with trochanteric bursitis during pregnancy?
Yes. It's not trochanteric bursitis, which is like this lateral hip pain, right? That's pain on the outside of your hip. Yes, because, well, you have to look at the root cause. So oftentimes, that's less common. It's usually more this pubic symphysis pain, you know, when you get in and out of the car, rolling in and out of bed, anything that you have to like spread your legs or open. Stairs are usually like not your friend if you've got pubic symphysis pain, but this is like very treatable. This is like, even at 36 weeks, people will walk waddle in actually, and they'll walk out walking almost normal. Like that's the power of, if you go to a really good pelvic and orthopedic PT, like that's what can happen. So trochanteric bursitis, you have to look at the reason, right? So like a lot of times it's because your hips are not really stable, you're wiggling too much, you don't have really strong like outer hips, and so your hips tend to drop, or you know, like the model walk, like kind of like this, your hips go side to side, and then you can add a lot of compression here. So yes, pelvic floor therapy and or orthopedic therapy can help with that, right? So we'd have to look at the root cause. If there's some tightness that's causing you to do it, or is it more weakness?
Right.
And it may not just be the hip muscles, it may be all across to give you more stability.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Just like hip tightness in general. I feel like I'm already getting like where I need to pop my hips, that feeling, or like just feeling some, so like what stretches, you know, during pregnancy can you do to help loosen things up, I guess, or help with the tightness?
Yeah, so there's some simple things that we can do, so I'll circle back to that. Hip tightness, I mean, you can do self-myofascial release, like with a ball or with a foam roller. Do you guys do that when you guys teach your classes? You're teaching more like strengthening and
We use block and core balls too.
You do use core balls, okay, but you're not like using them to myofascial release.
Sometimes, but not normally, no.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll do core balls on the ground, but.
Yeah, but they're too soft to really like myofascial release. So something you can easily do is take a ball, like a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, and actually do it against the wall. So like if you've got that outside hip tightness, you can take that ball and put it against the wall and like rub yourself against the wall, you know, and you're in control of it, right? Because So with people who aren't pregnant, I might be real aggressive and have them do it on the floor.
Right.
But at this point, you're probably gonna scream. It's probably gonna be too tender. So against the wall, you can really control like how much pressure you put in, and you can search all around your glute and see if you can find some knots and things like that. That might help you. You know, you can also take a massage gun, or you can take a rolling pin or massage stick and work in here. Especially those people with like the SPD, this pubic symphysis pain. If you roll your inner thighs in here, or you have your partner do it, it really helps. People don't realize like, oh my God, it's so tender. People want to jump off the table, but it helps them so much. You know. Any other ones?
Oh, not at the moment.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Liz, this is my first, and I guess my biggest question is just what are some things that I can do, like while I'm driving or in the car? Like, are there little things I can do every day all the time to just prepare and help for after?
Yeah. You know, I'm just going to start answering questions because I'm not going to remember all the other ones. so something simple that you can do. I mean, I don't love doing just isolated Kegels. However, there is some benefit to it, right? But the problem is a lot of people, like, they just Kegel and then they relax, Kegel and relax. And they're not really like integrating it with the rest of their body. But that's actually how your pelvic floor works. It works with the rest of your body. That's how you're gonna be able to jump and run and cough and sneeze without peeing yourself, to be honest. Just your pelvic floor strength itself, yes, there is some importance in that. So what you can do, like sitting in the car, is actually work on your posture and get your head against the headrest and get your rib cage and your back in a good position, and then your pelvic floor and diaphragm are gonna be in a good position, and they're gonna work together much better. Okay, so then you can take an inhale. So everybody can do it, right? So have you heard of diaphragmatic breathing? Okay, and maybe if you've done like any of the apps for moms, you can, like, they talk about diaphragmatic breathing. My biggest pet peeve about those is it's all focused on the belly, right? Like when you go to traditional like diaphragmatic breathing, whatever they teach you, it's all about, okay, really like push out your belly on the inhale, but it's actually really, it's a 360-degree thing. Your rib cage, your diaphragm is this umbrella shaped muscle underneath your rib cage. So you actually want to breathe 360, and I want you to think of back breathing, not just, oh, I'm going to extend my belly. Okay, so you can put your hands on your rib cage here, just to feel your ribs move, and then you don't have to do this while you're driving, obviously, because you need to have your two hands on the wheel. But you're going to take an inhale through your nose and try to take an inhale for 5 seconds without elevating your shoulders very much, right? So that looks like this. So I want you to try to keep your shoulders down and relaxed, and then I want you to feel your thumbs on the back of your rib cage and your other fingers on the front and side, and then you're going to take an inhale for 5 seconds. And feel that like 360 expansion. Can you feel that? And then exhale, blow. Try it again, inhale. So this is just the inhale part. And then exhale through your mouth, like you're trying to fog up a mirror. Right? Inhale again. Now when you exhale, I want you to try to lift your pelvic floor. So inhale, think about relaxing your pelvic floor, and then exhale, pick up the pelvic floor like you're sipping a milkshake through a straw with your pelvic floor. So it's a lift up as well as squeeze. Most women just squeeze and then they like immediately let it go, all right? So I want you to try to squeeze for those 5 seconds with a lift. So inhale again, relax the pelvic floor, and then exhale, suck up the milkshake, or pick up the blueberry, or try to hold in a fart, and then inhale, let it go, and your pelvic floor should relax on the inhale, and then exhale, blow up. Okay, who found that challenging? Oh, you all found it kind of challenging. Yeah, that coordination. So it's, again, your head is, you're a step ahead. You can start working on that now, even at 36 weeks pregnant, right? That's something you could totally do right now. You can do it in the car, at the stoplight with good posture and positioning. And if you can't like figure out the coordination exactly, just breathe, because you can't go wrong with this deep diaphragmatic breathing and that full slow exhale. Nothing bad's gonna happen, if you do that. And you can do that, guess what? Day one of birth. You can do that day one. I hate this, like, let's wait 6 weeks. Don't do anything for 6 weeks. And then magically, at 6 weeks, you're clear for everything. Never mind that you've been 6 weeks completely deconditioned, your body has gone to crap. Literally, if you don't do anything for 6 weeks, that is exactly what's going to happen. They put people on bed rest for 6 weeks, and they're atrophying in 2 weeks, guys. So yes, I know C-section, and if you've got like lots of stitches and things going on, I'm not saying you need to go like start working out right away. Obviously, you need some healing, but you're going to be walking. There's some diaphragmatic breathing you could be doing. I mean, you have to get up and down from the toilet. That's a squat, basically. You still have to lift this baby. So I think the medical system is like, it's kind of ridiculous in terms of how much they limit you. I mean, after ACL surgery, which is a significant knee surgery, I am seeing patients the first week of surgery. We are getting those muscles to kick on right away. Not only that, not just the knee, we're actually getting the hip and the foot and ankle to start doing something like the first week of surgery, major orthopedic surgery. But then you would give birth to a baby, you might have stitches, you might have a C-section, and they're like, just do nothing. So it's so ridiculous to me, and that's why by the time women come to me, if they come I try to get women to come 4 to 6 weeks after they deliver, but some women aren't coming in till 3-6 months later, and then their body is so deconditioned, and it's just this huge uphill battle if they wanna work out again or run again and things like that. So, you wanna be within reason, but the current system is not very conducive to helping you recover quickly. Let's just put it that way. So you could start doing some of these things right away. You could do it with every time you get up and down from a chair. Inhale to come down, exhale, stand up, right? Stand up and think about pulling up your pelvic floor. But you also wanna relax the pelvic floor, right? So if you tension, you can create a situation where you have too much tightness in your pelvic floor. I'm gonna go back to the tight hip person. So your hips and your pelvic floor, to me, are really synonymous. They have a one-to-one relationship. The function of your hips tells me the function of your pelvic floor, and vice versa. So if you've got super tight hips, your pelvic floor may be super tight also. We'll often see that, and they'll get pinching in the front of their hip. They feel like their hip flexors are really tight. They want to stretch them all the time, but actually it's pelvic floor tension. And then we have to go into the why of why do you have pelvic floor tension? Are you gripping all the time? Are you sucking in your stomach all the time? So, like I said, I can talk about this stuff for hours and hours. So I digress. What was the original question again?
My question was just things.
What can you do?
Yeah.
Yes. So is that something you guys feel like you could just practice?
Yeah.
Even if you can't get the exhale and the lift together, just like I said, you can't go wrong with a deep diaphragmatic breath and then a slow exhale.
We just have to be on here for 5 minutes, by the way.
What's that?
We have to leave in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Go on. What else?
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen. So my first, I had a C-section.
Mm-hmm.
My second, I'm hoping for a
A
VBAC.
VBAC. Mhm.
So maybe just this time around, I want to do things differently, and
Yeah.
just when it comes to recovery and all of that. So yeah, I think that's helpful. Just things that we can do right away, like you said, right after birth, just being able to breathe and do that.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I think what a lot of pelvic floor PTs ignore is upper body. A lot of times when you go to traditional pelvic floor PT, it's just they just look at this. Actually, a lot of pelvic floor PTs only look internally. They don't really, and maybe yours do, but they're not looking at the whole system. And some things that you can start doing are scapular squeezes, neck rolls, shoulder rolls, because many of you are going to be breastfeeding and or bottle feeding. Both situations require good postural control of your upper body and your upper back. You've got these bands. I mean, are you guys doing any banded pull-aparts? I mean, that's a great one. Honestly, I don't see why you couldn't do this very soon after birth, unless you don't feel well, right? Unless you're bleeding and you have complications. If you're feeling fine, there's no reason you can't like pull your shoulders back and start working on your lengthening your neck and improving your posture, right? Because I'm going to tell you, if this is your first baby, you may not realize this, but like there's a lot more work after this pregnancy. Actually, the hardest work is after your pregnancy. While you're pregnant, like you just still have to manage yourself. But afterwards, you've got to now manage this baby, and they are very demanding, you know, and the lack of sleep, and then like, you're gonna end up folding into gravity like this. So the more you can do to help improve your posture, I mean, that's something you can do a little bit every day, you know, and not have to like set this extra time apart for exercise, right? Did you have any scar mobilization done on your C-section?
No, and it's better now, it's been 2 years, but like I feel like for like the first year, it was pretty like raised and not keloided, but I wish I did more, but I was just always so scared to like touch it and like the numbness and all of that. So I'm hoping I don't have to have another C-section.
Yeah.
And with the toddler and all the recovery and everything, so I remember last time, like it was so hard to get up. So it's like I have a baby and a toddler, I want to be able to do everything I can. So.
Right, I know, it's not easy. That's the other thing is a lot of women like don't know C-section scar mobilization is important. Same thing with tummy tucks. I made a video. Any abdominal surgery is actually pretty important to have some sort of therapy. I'm actually seeing a mom who had C-section scar, and you can't see how deep it goes. It actually went all the way down to her uterus. So, because she had a second C-section and they had to cut through some of that scar tissue. So the sooner you get mobilizing that scar tissue too, the better. And they cut through 7 layers of fascia. It's really hard to get your muscle to wake up again, right? Like when I'm gonna compare it to orthopedic surgery, ACL surgery, I have electrical stimulation on their knee, like the first day they were in PT to get that muscle to wake up. What do women after C-section get? Nothing. Go home, good luck with the baby, don't lift anything.
Yeah.
Like the baby's growing and like you know getting heavier every day, and you're just like getting weaker as time goes on because you're not doing anything for it, right? So again, like you can do your diaphragmatic breathing, you can just contract your abs a little bit if it doesn't hurt. You know, you can start to try to lift your pelvic floor, try to hold and like lift and hold for 5 to 10 seconds, and then slowly relax. That's what your pelvic floor should be able to do. It should be able to like contract, hold, and then slowly let go. And then it should be able to do quick ones, you know? So it's just like any other muscle group. I wanna go back to the earlier questions because I was like planning to just ask questions and then answer them all at the end, but what were your questions? You didn't have any questions?
I don't think any of them.
Okay. Did you have any? You just wanted to listen and see what to watch out for. Did you have any specific questions?
No, but I do have one now, which is,
Okay.
do you recommend, like, as a blanket statement for every postpartum woman to, like, start PT?
Yeah, actually, in many countries, that is the standard of care. They get a midwife or they get a pelvic floor PT. In this country, we do not. Again, the state of...
Oh, you don't have one?
What's that?
You get a referral now?
Yeah, it takes usually a month or two
Yeah.
because there's not that many.